because your divinity is far more powerful than any physical like thing in this reality. That's why like Jesus could walk around and hold space for miraculous healings
Yeah.
if it didn't go against their soul contracts or whatever it was. I know that like in my visions I saw a lot of what's going on right now 5 years ago and then again last year where this mass wealth is going to be redistributed back to humanity. So I think that'll open a lot of opportunities and doors for us to come together and start like really creating from that place without being stuck in the slave system so much. But
Today I'm here with Tony Piazza, and he's going to do what is called quantum healing scans. And what this thing does is it scans and it checks your chakras, it checks your physical, mental, emotional states. It identifies your blocks and helps you to release them mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And so I'm doing this intro the day after I've had the scans, and I've noticed some subtle differences already. He says it takes a few days to integrate and so on. And he'll explain all of that as we go. So buckle up, my friends.
yeah, so this is the Healy. It's just a little personal wearable. I love it. I've had it for over 4 years. It's a game changer. It's got hundreds of programs, over 10 million frequencies. So essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a screenshot of your face and then crop myself out of it and then get your information. So I need name, birthday, birthplace, and then it uses your photo as well. And that's basically like kind of like your human IP address or your radio station. And then we'll
Okay.
scan your aura, and this will show us where your chakra energy levels are, trauma and blockages you may have picked up throughout life, or even things passed down generationally, or you may be caring for other people. Sometimes that happens. And then we can go through the body, mind, and spirit, different emotional things. And then at the end, the coaching programs, they essentially address, like if you set an affirmation, it'll pick up on any subconscious blockages, limiting beliefs, and behaviors blocking you from that affirmation and then help clean them up. So it's pretty extensive. So,
Sounds like something I can use, definitely. You know,
yeah.
we always like to think that we're doing really pretty well, and but we are our blocks are the things that we don't see, so
Blind spots. Yeah.
and
It's,
blind
it's
spots,
like
yeah.
having, it's like having a little personal healer and life coach in your pocket and then frequency support. So the Healy has three forms of frequency. It uses the quantum, which is what we're doing now, where I can scan and deliver frequencies to anyone, anywhere, even like plants and animals and things like that. And then if you have a Healy yourself, it has wires that plug into it that go to sticky electrodes or wristbands,
Oh, wow.
and that uses microcurrent, which is essentially the same electrical system your body operates on. So you're not going to feel it like a TENS unit. It's very subtle, but that microcurrent boosts your cellular ATP by up to 500%. And then your protein synthesis by 70% and your amino acid transport by 40%. So essentially supercharging your cells and helping you to heal and regenerate and optimize. And then based on the program you're running, it gets those systems or organs or whatever it is back into health and harmony. So the more consistent you are with it, it's basically reminding your system where health and harmony are so that you heal yourself. And there's like a whole testimonials page with on Facebook called the Frequency Experience. It's got like 87,000 people on there, people reversing illness and disease and things that Western medicine deem incurable. So, yeah, right now I just
Is that a group on Facebook?
yeah, I'll give you the link after this.
Okay. I'll post it on the video then too. So since I'll post this as a video.
Yeah, you can go through there and like in the top search bar of the page, like search specific issues or ailments and look at other people's testimonials. It's pretty amazing. I've helped a lot of people heal and get off their meds, and it helps on all levels. So it's not just helping on the physical; it helps on the emotional, spiritual side of things as well. So it also has a coil, which is like a Tesla coil that plugs in where the wires would go. It's right here. So this
Oh,
little
cool.
thing like comes out, and that's where the wires are. I can't do it because I'm holding my phone, but
That's fine.
it creates a 3 foot field of pulsed electromagnetic frequency. So it works on the magnetic part of your system. So we're electromagnetic, right? So the microcurrent's the electro, and then that's the magnetic. So you could just run a program from your pocket while you're out running around without being connected to wires. So it's really cool.
Sounds amazing.
So I'll get a picture of you real quick.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. And then I'm going to crop myself out and then I'll share my screen with you. If you're in person, I can just take a picture of you and then record like you can hold it and then it records your vibration for more accuracy, but it's pretty accurate even long distance. It's got patented quantum sensor technology like Kurzakov mirror. I can't remember what it's called. It's out of Germany.
Okay.
So the main system that was originally created is called Time Waver, and that is like 20 to 40,000, and it's for practitioners, and they can do like an unlimited amount of clients. It goes way more in depth than the Healy, but the Healy was created for the average person to be able to use, and it's like simplified. And
What is it? What does the Healy cost?
so the Healy ranges from the base model. I always tell people to get the Pro model because it has all the programs you'll ever need for life, and like it's typically they have sales for like 50 to 60% off. So it starts at $4,000, but most of the times you can get it for like 1,600. And then they have two year through Klarna. There's a 2 year what is it called? No interest payments. So it's like less than 100 a month. But
Okay.
I've spent well over 6 figures on my own healing journey, and this is something that I've used daily for 4 years, and it's helped with so many different things. So
Wow. Yeah, well, that's what I'm been curious to try it, and I can use all the help I can get.
yeah, it's it's a powerhouse, especially if you use it with intention and consistency. Like some people get miraculous things immediately, others it takes a little longer
Yeah.
to because their system's so out of whack. It takes a little bit longer to get it back into harmony. But it's like even helps people with hormone issues that have no thyroid
Oh, wow.
completely balance and start like. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, now I can see your screen. Yeah.
I
Cool.
spelled your name right.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's
And
correct.
then year of birth.
Dating myself. I'm one of the last of the boomers, man.
And then
Yeah.
where were you born? Like city, state. All right. So that's all that it uses. And then right here where it says record vibration, if you're in person or say like it's a rescue animal. I've helped a lot of animals and saved lives with this. It's crazy, but and share it because I need to do that anyways. I haven't. So your overall life force energy is at 69%. So it's going to be analyzing your crown chakra, your third eye, your heart chakra is at 100%. That's great. And then
Yeah.
your root chakra. So then it goes into a deeper analysis.
Well, I have a good heart.
Yeah.
Ready for Ibogaine.
All right. So this is where what it picks up doesn't necessarily mean it's what you're going through right now. It could have been something from any point in your life that stuck in your field. So the percentage on the top left is just the relevancy. It's just always going to go down in order. The second number is on a scale of 1 to 10. This is a 4. 10 means it's impacting you heavily. 1 means it's barely impacting you. There's just some residue left. The last number tells you if it's mental, emotional, physical, or generational. And this one is actually D1E24 means it's from your grandparents. So this is something
Hmm.
that your grandparents dealt with and passed down. So the
Interesting.
person has learned to identify with the physical form. And then the desired state that it reprograms you with is I know that I'm an infinite soul in a physical body.
The forehead chakra, it was saying.
Yeah, that was the third eye chakra. So that was like a generational thing where they identified with physical form versus spiritual.
Okay.
So it's rewiring that to say, I know that I'm an infinite soul in a physical body. And this one's the crown chakra. It's only a 3, so it could be old. The person is actively searching for their spiritual home and for God. So I have found my soul home and God. This one's an 8. So the person feels a sense of belonging to a community only when the same feelings are shared. So I feel a sense of community even when different feelings are lived.
That's
And
interesting
this
how
is
it says the crown chakra is shining in the sacral chakra color orange. So the crown chakra is not.
Yeah, so it's picking up on distortions. like these little like static in a radio
Okay.
station, if you will. And then what it does is the desired state is what it reprograms it with.
So the crown chakra is not fully open, and it's the sacral chakra is still running the show. Is that
A
what that
little bit,
means?
yeah. And then this is your third eye. So based on their mental awareness, the person has realized that their spiritual experiences are perceived differently. They perceive their longing for spirituality. So I follow my inner guidance and I am filled with spiritual experiences.
That's cool. Is there any way like you can do these things get
I'll email this.
okay, you'll email the whole thing to me?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
This is with your root chakra. Food is perceived as safety. And so this is something that for me is for sure. Um, so I walk through life protected and supported is what it reprograms your root chakra with.
Awesome. Yeah, food. I'm definitely addicted to food. I've been trying to break that addiction.
Yeah, I was forced into a fast. So I've done a lot of fasts. You really start to recognize your addictions to food and eating, and it's pretty interesting. Once you get past the first few days, then it kind of liberates you from it.
Yeah, first day or two is usually the toughest, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So this is a crown chakra. An attempt is made to achieve unity with all that exists through spiritual perceptions. The person again experiences separation. So I experience the all-embracing unity from within, and I feel connected to everything from within.
So that's what this is. This is trying to help me move in that direction. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. So the present state is what it's picking up on, like little distortions that you picked up throughout life. It doesn't necessarily mean it's current.
Right.
Could be from childhood, anytime. And then the desired state is what it is sending into your field to restructure, reprogram those things.
Nice.
So this one's crown chakra. The person does not assume authority and responsibility for their life, so decisions are left to other authorities. So I assume responsibility for my life and make my own decisions. And so that could have been at some point in your life when, like, we've all given away our power at some point, you know?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of my life, yeah. I've taken it back at least I think for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of our journey, you know, to
Yeah.
stand in your power and reclaim it.
Well, there's a balance there. You want to help people and stuff, but we often give away our power when we do.
Yeah, it's a delicate dance.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so this one is your root chakra and it's passed down from your parents. D1 E12 is parental. The person uses money to exert emotional extortion or control. So that was something your parents did
Hmm.
or was passed down to them. So I treat everything and everything with respect and appreciation.
I was just going to say the thought came to my mind immediately. Money doesn't grow on trees,
Yeah,
ingrained in as a child. So you have to be very thrifty
right.
to a fault, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then you're ingrained with the lack mentality and everything's hard and I had to go through that. I was raised with.
Yeah, I think I'm still battling that some.
Yeah, it's a deep subconscious program
Yeah.
and I get out of it and then I go right back into it. Like I've
Yeah.
had these cycles where I break free from it and then all of a sudden I'm back in it and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Those old programs tend to want to reinsert themselves.
Yeah. And unworthiness and different things that was passed down generationally for sure. So,
Jeez, yeah,
um,
that's a generational cultural thing in almost all cultures, if not all of them.
yeah. All right. So this is the crown chakra. There is a realization that other persons cannot give the person the feeling of unity, so deficiency is perceived. So I know that the feeling of unity, which nourishes and sustains me, can only come from within myself. I feel connected with and carried by everything. And then this one is only a three, so you've cleared most of it. So the person identifies and sees himself as a man, and as a son, he experiences direction through the presence of his father's love. So this is a trait that is being further anchored. So I identify and feel myself as a man, and as a son, I experience direction through the presence of my father's love. Was he there for you, like throughout your life?
Not really emotionally.
Maybe he's helping from the other side now.
Could be, yeah. Well, and he passed away a couple years ago, and so that helped me and my brother clear a lot of stuff, a lot of feelings we had about him and how he treated us and stuff. He was a
Okay.
pretty good father, but he had his flaws that he passed on to us, that we identified with for a long time.
Right. And this one is third eye chakra. The person keeps themselves from looking behind the things of life. They prefer to control what they want and do not want to see. But so I boldly and openly reflect on my life's experiences and trustingly commit myself to the flow of life.
Yeah, that was something I did when I was younger quite a bit.
Yeah.
What was the number on that one?
An 8.
That means it was pretty strong.
Yeah. At some point it was. Yeah.
I feel like I've cleared most of that, but maybe not. Maybe there's a blind spot there I need to look at.
Yeah. It's you'll like over the next couple few days and weeks after I send you all these frequencies, you'll probably start to notice little shifts. And I mean, we always revisit different layers of it. Like I've sat in many ceremonies where I think I've healed something and then it comes back around for a deeper understanding and release. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
This one is a life theme and it's a 7. So the person is financially providing for other people whom they perceive as moochers. So I receive the appropriate compensation for everything I give financially.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think that's happening right now, but yeah, in the past.
Yeah, it can be at any point in life. Yeah. It was a life theme, so it happened throughout life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Third eye chakra. The person, the spirit is asking, who am I? This question is the expression of a spiritual crisis or a phase that is usually experienced in midlife. The existential themes of life have already been lived and experienced, and now the person is prepared to understand the true meaning of life. So I understand the meaning of my life, which goes beyond the existential themes of life.
Yeah, that's been an ongoing thing for 30 years at
Journey
least.
and unfolding. Yeah. This one is third eye chakra from your parents. From the spiritual consciousness, the person has realized that the spiritual path is different from relationships. The person clearly perceives incompleteness and the lack of the spirit. So I know that the spiritual path goes beyond relationships and I am following it from my inner guidance.
Yeah, definitely been trying to do that for years now, trying to follow that inner guidance.
I think you're doing great.
Well, I slip back now and then though.
Yeah, we all do. That's the part of the having compassion for us being human because like no one's ever perfect. I don't care how advanced you are spiritually. Like I had to give myself compassion with my recent thing, you know? Like
Yeah,
I should know better, you know? I'm doing all this
yeah,
stuff. And
like,
then
yeah. I thought I
but you
overcame all this stuff already. Yeah,
and the thing is like there's lessons in all of it and you're loved unconditionally and sometimes you there's no avoiding these lessons like you're supposed to go through them for that direct experience and wisdom that you gain. So
yeah. Some of these fallbacks, I look at them as a reminder.
humbling.
Yeah,
This is about yin and yang consciousness due to lack of individual consciousness. The person is reducing themselves to their physical needs and their need to keep everything under control. You've cleared most of this. So I respect all my needs, the physical as well as the emotional, psycho spiritual ones. I am full of confidence in life. This one's only a 3. Root chakra, material things such as money are not considered important. So I know that money is an energy that I can use to equalize values and it serves me well.
yeah. That's something I've struggled with all my life. It looks like I've cleared a bunch of it so far, but still working on some of it.
Yeah, there's going to be abundance coming. I've been showing it over and over again. So we're about there.
Yeah. I can
So the
feel it
first,
coming, but I fall back to my old programming sometimes, you know?
oh yeah, I do too. The person feels secure by controlling the issues of the root chakra. So devoted and trusting, I follow the flow of life. Another root chakra passed down from your parents. The person has a mental image of what home actually means. They do not perceive their home as a place of security. They often move house or apartment, an expression of the search for their inner home.
Mm.
So my home is a place of security and I feel at home inside.
Yeah, that's an important one.
So then that's all of them. And then we vibrate it into your field.
Is that something you're doing that right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this goes into your field and helps clear up all of that. And then we'll scan other things.
Anything I need to do while you're doing that? Well, to help with that?
Just be open to receive. And
Okay.
then make sure you drink some water later.
Yeah. I have some right now too.
Okay. I'll be hitting you with a bunch of frequencies. So people
Okay.
have different sensations. Some people feel like tingling or sensations in their head, neck, or chest or throughout their body. Some people start to feel a sense of inner peace and calm. Some people feel drowsy for a short period of time. some people can tell me, like when I send flower essences and stuff, they can tell me, they can smell them and they can tell me where it's hitting them in their body
Cool.
and what it's doing. So it just kind of varies on the individual. Could be subtle, could be something you recognize, but
Since we started this, I've already felt a bit of a heightened sense of, I don't know what the word is. It reminds me of a QHHT session that I had with with the higher self. You know,
uh-huh.
feel a bit. It's not quite as intense, but I feel a bit of that heightened awareness, I guess.
Yeah, you start to notice more subtle energies.
It's almost like a an anxiety, but it's not an anxiety. Yeah, I don't know if you've experienced
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, yeah. If you need to breathe and
I took a cold shower for this, and I do breathing in in the shower before I do take before I turn it cold. That always helps.
yeah,
And then
I just did that too.
I try to raise my energy up while I'm doing the breathing to the head chakra or the crown chakra, I guess you could say, and the third eye chakra.
Yeah, I do hot and then I crank it to cold and then just start breathing and go as long
Yeah,
as I can. I don't like cold though.
yeah. Nobody does. I do the breathing beforehand before I crank it to cold. I do like
Oh, okay.
three or four rounds, and then I hold my breath for about 30 seconds or so while I'm uh, pushing the energy up. They call that gamma breathing, I guess. Some people call it that.
Oh, okay.
Joe Dispenza calls it gamma breathing. Other people probably call it other things, but
Right. All right. So then we can do these other ones where this one scans 48 crystals. I don't know if you're into crystals, but it'll tell
not
you,
not a lot, but a little bit.
yeah. So it'll tell you the top five that you'd benefit from right now and what they do, and then send you the frequencies of them.
Okay. I have
What
some
the heck?
quartz crystals and some amethyst, and I have what else? I have one, I can't remember the name. It's supposed to be really powerful, but I just have a little one of it that I picked up over the years. My dad was a rock hound, and so I got a whole bunch of stuff from him.
All right. So Brazilian quartz. The essence of purifying white light energizes and synchronizes the aura, the subtle bodies, and the physical body to the natural vibration of the earth. Sapphire ruby, balance between spirituality and physical abilities, enables the gentle integration of our higher purpose into physical reality, helps us to receive physical nurturing by fulfilling our divine responsibility. Rhodochrosite increases energy, balance, and stability in the heart chakra and in the physical body, brings a balance of nurturing earth energy to the heart chakra after an experience of healing and transformation. Star Sapphire promotes trust in the universe, helps us to focus our attention on the things in life that are necessary for essential development of our soul, supports the formation of energetic connections that help us reach our life goals. Citrine harmonizes the mental body with higher spiritual laws, increases access to divine truth and intelligence, amplifies the qualities of concentration, centering, and rational mind.
Hmm.
So I send those.
Okay.
So generally what I like to do is, like, if I wake up in the morning, I'll do an aura scan and then vibrate it into my field. Sometimes I'll go through it, other times I don't, because it's going to change based on what you're processing that day. It's kind of something not to hyper focus on because
Right.
energies are fluid and you can get consumed by information when it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
bringing you more of an awareness of what you may be processing that day, and you may, like, triggers or whatever may come up. And then I'll do these ones that help with like the crystals and then the flower essences, and it really helps to like put you on a good vibration to begin the day. And then, like, let's say I wake up and I'm tired or drowsy, I'll run frequencies for clean energy and focus and mental clarity. Or if I have like some digestion problems, I'll run digestion programs and it helps within like 20 minutes. I don't know. There's just so many. Fitness. When I go to the gym, I run circulation and then performance, which boosts my chi energy. And then while I'm working out, I run strength and I can lift way heavier. I have more stability. And then after, I run programs for muscle and regeneration. So instead of being sore for 3 or 4 days, I'm sore for maybe a day. There's
Cool.
just a ton of different things. So these are us.
I was going to say I've been going to the gym and stuff too, trying to get back in shape, but I've had a couple lapses where I did go for a week, and it's like at my age, it's like starting all over almost again. So
Yeah, I build muscle quick, but I also lose it quick. So you have to just stay consistent.
yeah, Consistency, that's just something I've struggled with all my life on a lot of things that I wanted to do to improve myself, staying
Yeah,
consistent with it.
it's just one thing. You just have to start building momentum instead of trying to eat the whole elephant. Just get one thing going, consistent, and then you bring on another, and then
Well, and when you get in your 60s, there's this it's like a natural aging process or something, and mentally, emotionally, and physically to want to crystallize and stop doing a bunch of stuff. And so you have to stay active. And I think the key to that is to keep your mind active first. But then some people do that, but they don't physically. And so,
right.
anyways,
Yeah, I mean that's something that when I first went through my awakening, I reprogrammed my subconscious mind and I really got into waking up early, plugging into I am affirmations and motivational videos, hitting the gym, cleaning my house, doing little things and building momentum throughout the day. And so I just got sent back to the basics recently where now I'm doing all of this stuff again because
yeah,
you get into your comfort zone and then you because you're feeling good, everything's good, and you're like, oh, I'll skip that, and then
yeah,
you give yourself excuses, and then it just
yeah,
tumbles down. So
yeah,
okay,
exactly. Yeah, I can slack off a little bit. I'm doing good. Yeah.
right, all right. So wild potato bush, realizing the vitality and energy of your own body, further development, even in difficult situations, feeling vitality and freedom. Five corners, blossoming of true self and love and self acceptance, self confidence and assurance. Bush gardenia, new interest in a partner, improved communication and passion. Christmas bell supports the feeling of lack and financial worries. Baronia, clarity of mind, thoughts and serenity, mental calm, creative visualization.
Interesting. Wild potato bush, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
Is that actually a potato bush or that's just the name of it?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. They make tinctures and teas and different things like with these flower essences. So
Yeah. Well, I used to be really into making tinctures and herbal healing and that kind of stuff. I still do a little bit of it. Every couple of years, I make a whole bunch of elderberry, natural elderberry syrup from elderberries that grow here in Idaho in the mountains.
nice.
And it'll cure just about any kind of flu or a bacterial infection or anything.
Yeah, it's really good. We used to go pick wild choke cherries in Wyoming. I don't know if what the benefits of those are, but
Yeah,
I think they're pretty sour.
they are. Yeah, they do have a lot of healing properties. I don't remember. If you'd asked me that 10 years ago, I probably could have rattled off all the healing properties of it, but I've forgotten a lot of it because I don't use it as much anymore. So, but I'm 66 and I'm not on any medications, and so
It's
unlike a
great.
lot of people my age,
Yeah, yeah, most of them have a whole medicine cabinet full of pills.
yeah, full of garbage. That's what I call
Yeah.
it.
Take this pill, but you'll need this pill for the side effects of that pill. And
Yeah, it's a racket,
Mhm.
and it's a cultural. It's been taught to our culture for generations now, unfortunately.
Right. So this is Bach flower remedies. So this will send you an essential oil, a gemstone, and an orchid, the frequencies of them. And it'll tell you like, so cherry plum helps with fear of uncontrolled temperament outbreaks or panic reactions, nervous breakdown or loss of control. So serenity and controlled stress reduction are strengthened. White chestnut helps with inner dialogue, soliloquies, and incessant circling thoughts combined with the inability to unwind. So inner peace and balance are strengthened. Walnut helps with uncertainty, influenceability, and fickleness. So the ability to remain true to oneself in fundamental changes of life situation and continue to go one's way is strengthened. And then we have holly, helps with negative, love-defying feelings such as envy, jealousy, harmlessness, and hate. So positive emotions and development of inner and outer harmony and genuine true love are strengthened. And then vervain helps with fanaticism or clinging to entrenched principles. So the willingness to be tolerant and the ability to accept new arguments and opinions is strengthened. So those are like the ones I generally do first thing in the morning, and then I go into the different
And you feel
physical stuff.
you feel the difference.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
And
interesting.
what
I just planted 4 chestnut trees.
really?
Yeah, and I have some holly tea sitting there in the cupboard. That's so maybe I was craving those frequencies or something.
Yeah, the time waiver, what the Healy comes from, can make specific programs for. specific ailments or illness, or even detoxing specific vaccines, or it can go into like past life stuff. It can scan the land and property. It's got over 500,000 databases. So
Wow.
eventually I want one of those so I can just have all my
Yeah.
friends set up and scan them and send them frequencies. And
Yeah.
but
That's
it's
awesome.
like I was at my friend's house, and he lives in kind of a shady neighborhood, and it picked up on dark energy to the northeast, and that was like a crack house.
Oh,
And then
wow.
it picked up on negative energy from gnomes, and we had just chopped a branch off the tree in the backyard.
Ah, so
It
you
was
guys
crazy.
pissed off a gnome.
Yeah. I had to give him like a peace offering.
Yeah, there
And
you
then
go.
it even picked up on me traveling on the like driving. It was sending me protective frequencies for driving, and I was about to go on a road trip from Arizona to Wyoming. So it's a really comprehensive thing. And Healy's great. It's got so many different programs, but um my friend has Time Waver, and he can make you custom programs for anything. So I even have like Solfeggio and Fibonacci and wealth and abundance frequencies and all sorts of stuff like Palladian stuff, all of it. And so you can experiment with it and see what happens. I've had some out of body experiences that actually shocked me, and I snapped out of it because I wasn't expecting it. I laid down and put like the Solfeggio frequencies on, and next thing you know, I step into a room and my guide was there, and I started panicking because I didn't
Wow.
realize what was
I,
going on, and I couldn't regulate my energy because it was unexpected.
yeah, yeah. You weren't prepared for it. Yeah, I have some Del Fazio frequencies for that I've used for meditation, although I haven't used those in a long time. I mostly use binary beats if I use them at all.
Yeah, and the thing is with that is you don't know if it's distorted through the phone. So when you're using it with the Healy, it's run directly into your body through the electrodes.
Yeah.
So it's a little different instead of, but yeah. So
I
this is,
have I have some of the Monroe Institute ones, and I think that they've worked on them to so that they can be very close to the right frequency
right,
through the phone. But because the other ones, I mean, you can go online now and get them all over the place, and yeah, some of those like hardly do anything,
right.
if at all. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this is like, I scan you for different types of forms of courage you could benefit from right now.
okay,
So, courage to be who you are, courage to seek nature, courage to express your feelings when you feel abandoned, courage to take action, and courage to seek wisdom. And then we'll get into the physical body and after this one.
right, all good things. And as I've gotten older, I've definitely gotten more courage to. That's part of taking back your power. It's courage to express your feelings and say what you mean and mean what you say and take action and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Don't worry about what other people think.
That partly comes naturally just from getting older. It's like, you know what? I don't care what they think anymore, you know? When you're younger, you're worried about everybody's feelings. And
Yeah. All right. So this is Schussler salts or cell salts.
yeah.
So the potential deficiencies and then what it can cause. So aurum chloride sodium, fear of loss and materialism. So focus on the essential, supporting the ability to be in the flow and to follow one's intuition and rhythm, promoting transcendental thinking. And this goes into the information field of reproductive organs and the pineal gland.
Wow. I just got the energetic chills.
Oh, wow.
I must need that one.
Yeah. And then this one's calcium phosphate, fear of the future and existential fears. So supporting, promoting confidence in the future and one's own existence, helping to establish the connection between the inner and outer world. And that goes into your bones and teeth. Zinc chloride, inner pressure and lack of self esteem. So growing, supporting the ability to strengthen one's self confidence, promoting courage to make mistakes and the certainty that you are loved for your own sake. Strengthening the ability to be alone with oneself. And that goes into your immune system, nerves, and skin. Sodium phosphate, insensitive and unapproachable. So integration, supporting the ability to feel tolerance and respect for others, promoting gentleness and mindfulness. And that goes into your metabolism. And then sodium sulfate, stubbornness and dogmatism. So tolerance and inner purification, supporting the ability to take responsibility for oneself and one's own life and tolerate and accept the lives of others. Encouraging the perception of all possibilities, which can then be used for oneself and for others. And that goes into your metabolism, liver, and bile. I thought this was interesting because I never thought about like minerals or whatever having emotional effects with their deficiencies, you know?
Yeah, they're like electrical carriers or magnetic carriers, I guess, if you will. Everything is energy. So and
Yeah.
so everything you take into your body, mentally, physically, and through food is communicating something somehow.
Right.
It's all a communication or people call it a vibration, but it's really a communication, in my opinion.
Right. Who was the guy? I share a video or have over the last 4 years, and I'm brain farting his name, but he talks about how we're made up of billions of proteins, and essentially those proteins get their structure and their job based on a signal, and that signal can be a hormone, a growth factor, a medication, a nutrient, or a frequency. And essentially, if you're ingesting something, your body has to go through the process of breaking it down and reassimilating it versus a frequency that your body can essentially use immediately. So like I've always wanted to do testing where like what we're doing here where I can send you frequencies for certain vitamins and nutrients and then do blood testing and see if it actually impacts you as if you took these nutrients in
Hmm.
or if it's more efficient. But I haven't had the funds to run that kind of testing, but I really want to try it because if you think about it, being able to run life on like you're charging your water with frequencies for nutrients or whatever it is, and your body uses it as if you did that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever done the thing where you have like a jar or a glass that you write something on?
Yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and that infuses the water with that particular frequency of intention or what have you.
Yeah, I do
So,
that, and then I also like I'll use Healy with I have Mag Healy, which is also made by Healy. It has frequencies for charging water for like heart opening, coherence, all sorts of different things, um, and the atmosphere. So I always charge my water for a lot of different things and then experiment with it. Even when I had garden towers growing, I would charge the water with frequencies, and
yeah,
I couldn't even keep up with it, how fast it was growing.
yeah, that's where even talking to the plants, you know, years ago, I don't know, back in the 70s or 80s, when people started saying you should talk to your plants, they grow better, it's the same type of thing.
Oh yeah.
You're communicating an energy frequency to them.
Yeah, my mentor, the shaman I lived with, he actually grew his own marijuana and he would play ceremonial music for them 24/7 and talk to them. And then we'd also put ayahuasca water in 2 weeks before harvest. And we called it ayahuasca. And it was the most expansive, heart opening, amazing like
Yeah.
marijuana that I've ever had.
That goes back to the ancient wisdom in the scriptures too, to pray over your crops and all this stuff. They're
Right.
trying to teach a primitive people the same stuff.
Yeah, intention is big.
I was gonna say that's what prayer is. It's been preserved through religion and it's become somewhat watered down, but that's what a prayer is too. You're setting your intention.
Right. Yeah. All right. So these are protection programs. So none of these are super high. With these ones, the higher the percentages, the more you need it. Typically, I only pay attention to ones that are over 50%. None of these are over 50. So mental protection, so protection of your mind, cell harmony, protection from EMFs, protection while you're sleeping, and then subtle energies. But none of these are high. So
I'm surprised that the EMF one isn't higher, and it kind of goes. It might have something to do with my belief because I've worked in computer rooms where every kind of frequency you can imagine is flying around, and I've worked in there 8 hours, days on end, and stuff like that, and everybody's afraid of 5G, and I keep telling 'em, if it was as bad as everybody says it is, I should be dead by now.
right.
Because I worked around a lot of that stuff, and so I've never had a fear of any of that kind of stuff, and so maybe that's all protecting me from it. And that's what I tell people too. It has to do with your belief in it too.
Yeah, it's very paradoxical because a lot of people get caught up in the fear programming and they don't realize that they're creating that situation themselves because everything exists, right? So
Yeah.
you're choosing your own adventure. Are you going to empower something over you or are you going to take your power back and have power over it? Because your divinity is far more powerful than any physical like thing in this reality. That's why like Jesus could walk around and hold space for miraculous healings if
Yeah.
it didn't go against their soul contracts or whatever it was. But like
Yeah, he
we can
basically said, Don't you know if you believe it, it'll happen?"
right. Yeah.
Yeah, people
So
don't realize that ultimately we're creating our reality through our thoughts and our beliefs and so on.
yeah, that's why the whole, I mean, I've been shown this in many of my ceremonies how all of it exists and our soul is beyond the duality polarity game of this realm. And our soul has played roles on both sides and we're still pure and divine. It's just for our soul's evolution.
Yeah.
We're learning through these experiences. So, what experiences are you wanting to learn through, and how are you going to embody your divinity and your power? And what is it that you want to create? Like, start focusing on the love and the magic and the childlike innocence and awe and wonder, and then you get more events in your life that reflect that. If you focus on, oh, the evil elite are doing this and that, and then you succumb to what they're doing, you can rise above all of it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Hey,
funny, but
there's one that's over 50% hormone harmony. Hmm.
this will help with your hormones. Shiver is like mucous membrane stuff. Eyes, I've had people's eyesight improve to where they didn't need their glasses. Nerve
Uh,
harmony, flexibility.
That would be awesome. Is from a one-time session, or is some several sessions with our eyesight
One
improved?
of my friends actually ran frequencies on herself all night while she was sleeping, and she got up and could read the TV screen and didn't realize she didn't have her glasses on and was completely shocked. So
Awesome. Awesome.
it all varies. But you can also take pearl powder. I don't know if you've ever seen Cultivate Elevate, um,
Mm-mm.
but
It's called Pro Powder.
pearl,
Oh, Pearl.
yeah. So it's pearl powder, and you can mix it with organic castor oil, half and half, and you rub it around your eyes at night, and then you ingest it as well, and
Hmm.
it's reversing all sorts of eye problems.
Yeah, send me some info on that. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I think it's cultivateelevate.com.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then I think he's got a ton of testimonials on there, but I got my mom doing it. I just started doing it even though I have good eyesight.
My eyesight's not too bad, but I need glasses to read and stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually can't wear them at night. I see better at night without my glasses than with them. So,
Oh, I have poor vision at night.
oh,
Okay, so lung harmony, head harmony, which is tension in the head and neck, food imbalances, impurities for detoxing, and then joints and bones.
okay. That's interesting because I have problems with my joints, but still, I guess there's still most of these are pushing the 50% mark. So,
Yeah, I love running joints and bones and then flexibility programs, the lung harmony, and then there's another program called Breath of Life. And when you do it with breath work, it's almost like you have another lung. You can inhale and breathe way easier. Um, the food imbalance and allergy meridian programs are amazing. Like there's a guy who is severely allergic to mangoes and nuts, and after running these programs for a period of time, he can now eat them. So
yeah, yeah. Well, my joints have always been a problem. I've been doing martial arts since the 1970s, since I was 15 years old, on and off, but fairly consistently until I don't know, maybe when I got in my 50s, I was still doing it some, but not nearly enough. Anyways, I basically wrecked my joints in the 70s because we didn't know back in those days you weren't supposed to be snapping those kicks in the air, extending hyperextending your cartilage, and so.
right.
But I started eating paleo, and that helped my joints quite a bit. And now I do carnivore, well, probably ketovore. I still eat a little bit of carbs here and there, and that has helped. But as I've gotten older, I wake up though with stiff legs and sometimes get cramps in my feet and legs in the mornings.
Yeah, I just started doing this fascia work too. I might be able to send you the my login, but it's with a tennis ball, and she's helped reverse a lot of that stuff because our fascia gets so knotted up. And you start with your feet and then work up to your calves and then your legs, and then you do that for a period of time before you move to the upper body, and it's reversing all sorts of things. But fascia work has come up in my life a lot because I have a lot of injuries, and I mean, I was benching 300 at 16, 17 years old, and then 450 by the time I broke my back. So like I blew out my shoulders. I've done a lot of damage.
Yeah. I've done some fascia work. My wife and I did through a program from a gal called Ashley Black. I don't know if you've ever heard of her or not, but she has a, and we have these, what they call them, fascia blasters. Maybe I should do that again. It seemed to help some, but I don't know. We just kind of got out of the habit of doing it, you know?
In Costa Rica, I met this guy named John. He's retired and he used to work on professional athletes and Olympic athletes and famous people. And with structural integration, kind of like Rolfing, but he like just went at your body and you'd be screaming on the table for an hour
Yeah.
and then I'd feel amazing. But it wasn't that
Yeah.
fun.
These fascia blasters, you do it on yourself, but yeah, you get sore. You get pretty sore,
Yeah.
and it hurts at first until you really start working that fascia loose, which is probably why we got out of the habit.
Yeah. It's not enjoyable
Yeah.
during.
Well, and once you get an area done and it's all loosened up, then it doesn't really hurt anymore. But and then, yeah, then you fall back and go, oh, it's okay, I'm done. I don't need to do this anymore. And then it just eventually over time goes back to where it was.
Yeah.
Especially as you get older. Keep all this stuff up, Tony, while you're still young. I've always said that to myself, and I didn't do it. So
I know we give the best advice to others and we need to follow our own. Okay, so this one is like activation of stem cells and regeneration program. So bone harmony, regeneration 3, stability, regeneration 1, and epigenetic harmonization, so DNA stuff.
okay, well, that stuff's all pushing the 50% mark there.
Yeah, so like if you had a Healy, you just scan yourself. There's a shortcut way where you hit all Healy programs and it brings up the top 5 program lists that you should look into instead of going through every single one like I'm doing with you right now.
Okay,
And then you narrow it down by scanning those and then take note of the ones that are the highest percentage. And then you can run like 3 to 4 programs a day through the electrodes with the wires. And then you can do more with just the coil or what we're doing like right now through the quantum. But you can't, the microcurrent, if you overdo it, you'll overstimulate the cells and then it has a not a negative effect, but it doesn't help because then your body just shuts down because it's too much.
hmm. Interesting. Yeah.
So you keep it at like when you run the frequencies through the wires, you keep it between like 30 and 40%.
Okay.
When I first started, I'd run it at 100, and then I got scanned by the time waver, and they said my cells were overcharged. So that's why I was fatigued. So I had to back
Yeah.
it up.
Back off there. Yeah, a little bit. Put it in superhero mode.
Right. This one's deep cycle. So energy work,
Huh.
which is overall healing, kind of like going to an energy healer. Pure energy, pure calm, digest all, which helps with your digestion, but also digesting life itself. Breath of
Yeah.
life also helps with the lungs, but also grief and sadness and different things stored there.
Yeah, all of this stuff is all symbolic of your inner work too.
Right.
What's going on physically is mirroring what's going on inside and on the inside, so to speak.
Yeah, we signed up for all these different issues so that we could navigate and figure them out and transmute it all. We get too bored sitting up there in divine perfection.
So what do you usually charge for a session and
Um,
like this?
I was doing them for free or donation.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I might start putting a ticket on it depending on how busy I get, but I like to just educate people on the device, and then if you guys get one, I get uh, what is it called? I think if you buy a Healy, I get like
Commission.
100 or 200 commission or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So it all like balances out. And I'm not here to like push anything on anyone. I just want people to know what devices are out here that can actually help.
Yeah.
And if it resonates, cool. If it doesn't, cool. But at least I'm helping people and I get to have conversations. And I met a lot of my soul family just from doing these sessions for free. So this is like vitamins and nutrient mixtures that you'd benefit from. There's a whole PDF that tells you what vitamins and nutrients are in each one of these. So For men, mobility, hormonal system harmony, breath, and vitamin B complex. So it'll send you the frequencies of all the vitamins and nutrients in those programs.
Okay. This is like the homeopathic.
Oh, okay.
It's the same principle. Homeopathic healing. People say, well, there's no, if they dilute the substance out of it, how can it heal you? And I always would tell them it's the energetic signature of the substance that was in it. And so you're communicating to your body that this is what you need.
Right.
It's just another way of it's another form of energetic healing, but people take the drops or whatever, or the little pills. I never recommended the Walmart stuff because most of that stuff didn't work. It's just like, I don't know if they actually did the work to make it an actual homeopathic remedy, or just thought, oh, this is just somebody's belief system here. Just make these little sugar pills and give them to them and tell them it's homeopathic.
Right. I think I bought some of that with the cell salts, and it was like it came in these little vials with these little sugar balls,
Yeah.
and it was supposed to be all the cell salts. But
Yeah, it matters where you get it from.
yeah, I
So,
don't think I got it from a good source.
yeah, just like anything, I guess.
Right.
So, and I've made some of my own homeopathic stuff a little bit, dabbled in that too. And it does work if you get stuff that's made properly.
So this is the fitness program. So deep relaxation, performance, weight, strength, and muscle harmony.
Well, that makes sense. I've lost 30 pounds over the last few months, and I've been hitting the gym, so
Nice.
except for the relaxation part apparently.
Yeah, that one helps your body to heal and regenerate.
Maybe this, I think, but part of my stiffness and cramping is from having anxiety or something during sleep. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'm all tense, my legs are all tensed up and stuff.
Well, there's been a lot of energetic things going on, I feel like, over the last couple of weeks because I've had it every night almost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure that's part of it too. Yeah, I've always had trouble. My family, it's a family trait with cramps, especially after working out hard. Even when I was young, I
Take
would get leg.
magnesium?
Yeah, yeah. I take 500 to 1,000 milligrams of magnesium a day,
Oh, wow. Okay.
which most people would say that's high, but it works for me. So, and I'm taking an electrolyte that has potassium and other stuff, and that actually helped a lot with the cramps. But I still, it helped lessen them, but I still get them a little bit once in a while.
All right. So this is a job program. So it helps with like nerves. So activation is one of my favorite programs. That one helps with mental clarity and like performing at the top of your game. And then we got fatigue, balancing of the nerves, positive thoughts. I like to run that if I'm in a bad mood or something.
And so you run this stuff regularly on yourself as you feel you need it, huh?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different programs, and you get spoiled when you have something that can help you
Yeah.
better than any supplement or
Yeah,
anything else.
I was just thinking that could it become a crutch instead of you actually dealing with your issues?
I think that you got to find the balance, right? And
Yeah.
it's, yeah, everything is a dance. It's
Well, and that's what we're here. We're here to experience duality, in my opinion, for the experience to experience what we're actually not.
right.
The opposite of what we are. And that's how the soul expands by experiencing everything there is to experience through all the many lifetimes, I guess.
Yeah. And it's all so divinely orchestrated. It's crazy.
Yeah, the higher self or the soul or whatever you want to call it, the ancient wisdom goes all the way up to the monad, is expanding itself through all these different experiences. So it's kind of like, well, you've probably heard me, I don't know if you remember, but you've heard me liken it to being in a nice warm house, sitting next to a cozy fire, sipping your favorite hot drink with your loved one. You can't fully understand and appreciate and enjoy that to its fullest unless you've actually been out in the bitter cold before, which is the
Right.
opposite of that. So,
Yeah. You have to experience the different, like, you wouldn't know if you were tall unless you were around short people.
right, yeah. It's the whole dark and light. You have to experience, in order to see that wonderful view outside the window, there has to be dark and light to play on shadows, casting the shadows and for the contrast. That's kind of the,
Yeah, when I sat with light beings, like these ascended beings, it was this pure bliss, euphoric, incredible feeling. And I was just on this amazing high. And then all of a sudden it just zeroed out. And because I became that frequency, right? So the high is
Yeah.
gone. It's just who you are now. And I was like, well, now what? And they just smiled at me and said, this is it. And I was like, oh, that's why we go down there. It's once you become it, you don't, that is all there is. There's no high. So we go back into the depths of the darkness and forgetfulness to then reawaken to the truth of who we are, to
Yeah.
appreciate that light again. So,
I sometimes tell people, when they ask, why are we here? I said, well, the short answer is we were bored.
right.
We were bored with our omniscience and and so on.
That's
So
true.
we had to experience lack of it.
And then a lot of us get cocky and think we can handle a lot more than we realize. And then we get down here and it's kicking our asses.
Yeah. I think of us all sitting up there, so to speak, metaphorically, right? Thinking, oh yeah, and seeing the simulations and going, oh, piece of cake, I can handle that, I can handle that. And then when we get here, it's like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I constantly complain to my guides. I'm like, come on, just give me one year off, please.
yeah. Can I have a little break at least, please? Yeah.
Just a nap.
It's like, nope, you signed up for this. Suck it up, Buttercup. So when I think back now to the many lives and all the things that, and just the history that we know of humanity, this is probably is a break life compared to some of the other lives.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've had some pretty brutal deaths that I've witnessed and re-experienced.
Yeah. Well, and seeing when we were caught up in the animal nature and some of the things that we did to other human beings too. That's
Oh,
a
there was
tough,
no respect for life in some of, yeah, it was pretty
yeah,
dark.
that's a tough one to deal with
Yeah.
now, knowing what we know now.
So these are meridians. So fatty degeneration is like your ability to break down fats, like avocados or whatever.
Okay.
Gallbladder. I don't know what the gallbladder does.
Oh, I forget.
Heart, and then joints.
So what did the one thing say? My heart chakra was 100% open? Or was it
Yeah,
100%?
this one's more of the physical body. Your heart, it wasn't even at 50% though, so it wasn't something that
Not not too
it's
bad.
just going to pull up the top five regardless. And so some of them are kind of irrelevant if they're not over 50, you know?
Right.
And then lungs came up again. Did you used to smoke or?
No,
Okay.
I probably teenager in high school, I smoked pot for a couple of years.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then I got heavily into martial arts and I realized the two didn't really mix and so I stopped. Wanted to be sharp. I fought some fought a competition when I started fighting competitions, especially wanted you had to be 100% sharp. I didn't like getting
Mm,
hit.
right.
This was before the MMA days.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, I grew up in Wyoming. I didn't really know of that kind of stuff. A small town, you know? So my outlet was the gym, and then I would wrap my hands and punch a heavy bag until I bled through them and then beat up bullies. That was my, I never had proper training, but I definitely was good at fighting naturally.
Yeah. No, you probably would have done good in martial arts. So
Yeah.
we were doing MMA stuff long before the term MMA was coined, I guess you could say. And then we used to have a fight class. We called it fight class, but it was more like fight club. And all the people from surrounding gyms and martial arts studios would come, and most of them never showed up twice. So we were known as the boys from the garage because we were working out in our instructor's garage and doing all kinds of stuff. And
The boys from the girls.
word gets around. But we were going full contact, and everybody else was what we called tag fighting or fly swatting. It's like, well, what good's that going to do if you get in a real fight? You know, nobody's going to
Yeah,
be pulling punches. You
you gotta
know,
be able to take the hit.
but occasionally we would get some real challenges where people thought it was bullshit and come and challenge. But that didn't work out very well for them. The good old days.
Right. Yeah, I was really super chill until you pissed me off because I was beat all growing up. So then I had that trigger.
Yeah.
That was set off, I'd black out and beat people to not good places. Then I'd feel bad. But
Yeah. I had that trigger kind of too. I wasn't beat as a child really, but um, my dad was more verbally abusive
yeah,
if you screwed up. Although we did get spanked in those days, but I was always slow to anger. But if you finally pushed me over the edge, and
yeah,
it scared me a few times because I was like, I could kill this guy, you know.
yeah. That's me too. I scared myself and even my close friends. All right, so this is a power of three program. So this works with like rife frequencies and different things. And Ayurvedic. So I don't know what kapha is. Pit is fire. Kapha, I don't know if that's earth. And then rebalance is rebalancing all your systems. Physical zapper protocols for parasites, but it's not over 50. So,
That's funny. I just did an ivermectin thing, I don't know, about a month ago.
oh, I just finished doing that as well. I try to do it like every few months.
Yeah, I was thinking at least twice a year, but yeah, maybe every couple months. I don't know. I get it probably it's probably different for each person. You have to
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in tune with my body more than most people enough to know, but
All right. So this is skin program. So skin harmony systems, scars, skin harmony local, impurities, like the beauty programs and the skin programs the women love.
I bet, yeah.
You'll see like on the testimonials page where when they first get it, they look beat up, and then a few months later, it looks like their hair's growing back, their skin's tightening up, their lights back on in their eyes. So
When I first
that,
started doing carnivore, my skin got better, and then I started adding a few different kinds of carbs and nuts back in here and there, and my skin is still better, but a few things had started showing up, and I thought, I wonder if it has to do with those things. And so I've started muscle testing. I used to muscle test a lot, so I started muscle testing now stuff. But if I'm going to add something back in, even though I'm still eating low carbs, I still like to eat some nuts once in a while or something, you know.
yeah. Hmm.
But I'm feeling like right now, I need to go full bore carnivore for a little while here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've done all the diets. I've gone strictly vegan, I've gone straight fruit, I've done juice fasting, water fasting. I mean, I grew up in Wyoming, so it was all steak and taters and like elk, deer, and bison, and all that. But I found that like going plant-based is really good for like detoxing, cleansing, and healing. But I don't feel like it's, I don't know, long
Like it,
term. Like I
yeah,
knew a lot of people who went hardcore, like with Dr. Robert Morse, and they actually had more health issues. And then once they reintroduced like eggs and meats, their health improved. So I feel like you have to find balance, and a diet can serve you for a certain period of time, but you got to eat intuitively. And there's
yeah,
different shifts that your body's going through. So it's like all these hardcore extremists are, I don't agree with that.
yeah, yeah. I did vegan many years ago, actually, and I had gotten sick, and I never couldn't seem to quite get over it completely. And so I had a friend who was vegan. I said, "You need to go vegan," and it worked. And I stayed on it for about 2 years, thinking I'm going to do this permanently because it worked to cleanse me out and everything. But I started having memory problems,
Hmm.
and I
You're not
was,
getting the fats and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and I was trying to eat, to get enough of everything. I was pretty careful with it, but so I finally added meat back in, and the memory problems went away. And so then that taught me, yeah, this isn't a permanent solution. And I've read that it has to do with blood type and body type, and of course, and my blood type, according to that train of thought, is not conducive to vegan, at
Yeah,
least
I'm
not
O
currently.
positive. I think I'm supposed to be a carnivore or something.
Yeah, yeah, I'm O positive also, yeah.
Yeah.
And so carnivore has worked very well for me actually. So I've lost 30 pounds because of it. So
Yeah, I loved like when I grew up in Wyoming and I had access to all the wild game. And now I go to a rancher here in Arizona that has clean, unvaccinated,
yeah.
pretty much wild cattle.
Well, and I've raised the beef that I'm eating right now. We raised it, and I was going to stop doing it and just get it from some neighbors, but I actually think I'm going to get a few more. Uh, but I still have plenty of beef in the freezers that we raised ourselves, so I know exactly what's gone into it. We don't use any chemicals here. I've done regenerative farming here, so I know the soils are in good shape and all that kind of stuff. So,
That's great.
um,
Where are you at again?
Idaho,
Oh, okay. Idaho's nice.
yeah. Not quite as cold as Wyoming, but at
Yeah, I don't think I'll go back to Wyoming.
least where we're at, there's some parts of Idaho that get cold like that. But I'm about an hour north of Boise, so.
Okay. I think I looked at
Florida.
properties there in Utah. Um, Four Corners area. I've looked in Hawaii, Arkansas, where I was born. I'm thinking about just selling my truck and traveling around Asia and then into South America a little bit.
What part of Asia do you want to go to?
Like Thailand, Cambodia, go to the like Angkor Wat and the sacred temples and see if I receive any activations and
I have a friend that lives in Vietnam, and he
in
married a gal.
Vietnam. Yeah.
He married a gal, a Vietnamese girl, and moved there with her, and they have a couple kids now and stuff. I don't hear from
It's
him much
cheap.
anymore, but yeah, he has an online business he does real well with there.
Nice.
It's interesting stuff. So, and he was a native Idahoan. He grew up here, which is weird.
Wow. Yeah, most people don't make it out. All right, so this is Soul Cycle program. So emotions, aura pure, stimulation, confidence, and acceptance. So then we're almost done.
I still feel a little bit of that heightened sensation, but I feel like I feel calmer now.
Okay. Yeah, it might take a little bit to integrate.
Yeah.
Then we'll do the coaching programs here in a second. I typically, you can create your own affirmation if you want to address something specific. I usually put like, I am in perfect health, living in divine opulence, which is abundance in all areas of life, and then serving my highest purpose. And then I scan and it picks up anything blocking you from that. And it's pretty interesting. And then delivers frequencies to help clear it up.
I have some affirmations like that that I haven't been really repeating for a while, but
Yeah, and you can plug in your own affirmations into this device and run it in your field all night while you're sleeping, and it helps with manifestation. And because we can only focus on that for so long, right? Because we have to live our lives. But
yeah.
when you're plugging it into your field more consistently, it happens quicker. I tested it when I went before I went to the Tucson Gem Show, which is like the world's largest crystal and gem show. Um, the night before I plugged in, I am so happy and grateful we met amazing vendors that gave us free items and extremely deep discounts. And then I forgot I did it. And then we went the next day and the first guy gave us a box of crystals for free.
Oh,
And
cool.
then the next guy gave me 90% off of $1,000 crystal cluster. And
Wow. That's actually the best way to do it is to just do it and forget about it. Because if you're thinking about it all the time, thinking, is that going to happen? You can actually kind of derail it by doing that. If you
right.
just do your affirmations and assume that it's happened and forget about it, and then it'll happen. And then when it does happen to you, you remember, go, oh, that's right. That was one of my affirmations. So
Yeah.
you detach emotionally from it as much as you can, and that lets the universe do its thing, so to speak.
All right. So this is the coaching.
Okay, cool.
And then it'll pick up on like, it'll select the lowest. I usually like to select all the yellow ones.
The yellow ones are the ones that need the most work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So potential self-worth goals, career, social relationships, personal relationships, and finances. And then it's going to further scan those. And this is similar to the aura scan with the percentages and the numbers. But what I'll do is I'll just vibrate it into your field and you can
Okay.
read it as it scrolls, but then I'll send you the an email where you can kind of look at it.
Yeah. I was going to say if this doesn't record properly for some reason, I'll use that email and just put some, shots in as we're talking about some of it. See
Okay.
how that works. I have a feeling it's going to record okay. I just, you never know. Or maybe actually make that my affirmation. Yep, this recorded perfectly.
So like the first one, resolving stress factors in the profession and work. So I recognize, harmonize, and transform what causes me stress in my job and work. Getting bogged down. The next one is from parental. I experience the power to understand and implement the following focus for my benefit and the benefit of the whole. Freedom. So I'm just going to vibrate this
Yeah.
and you can kind of read it and see what
Okay.
resonates. And then I'll send you some emails with all of it.
I still want to do an Ibogaine session eventually.
Oh yeah. I might be actually planning a retreat up your way. It won't be with Ibogaine, but it will be with my medicine.
Oh
Which
yeah,
would be
that's right. Yeah.
a good intro. It's
Yeah,
only 45 minutes to 2 hours, and then you get to experience what it's like to surrender into that. And then, because once you do Ibogaine, you're in it for 24 hours. So I'd prefer that you do my medicine that's like kind of like smoke ayahuasca, and you get to experience that. It's kind of like doing a handshake, right? And understanding what that surrender and what it feels like to cross those boundaries, so that you
Yeah.
don't go into a fear state. And I can kind of guide you through the process. And then once you get prepared,
Yeah.
then you level up to the other ones. Because
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in that. I mean, I've done mushrooms and acid and all that kind of stuff, but that was, in my 20s.
yeah, yeah.
So, so yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't know. I'd like to
I've
think
spent
that I wouldn't go into a fear state, but you never know for sure until you get there.
yeah, I can only prepare people so much until they're in it, and then when I'm with you, I can guide you and help you breathe and move your energies, ground you, and do stuff like that. But
Well, and if I actually schedule a session with you or with your retreat or whatever, I'll probably that'll help me focus on and I'll get back into my meditation more consistently and
right, yeah,
try to
preparation,
prepare that way as best I can. So,
yeah. I mean, I've spent probably over 500 hours in ceremonies, and I still get nervous, you know. So it's like,
well, yeah,
yeah,
your animal nature is there. I remember reading of a near-death experience where the gal was looking at a past life and she was being burned at the stake, and she had vowed that she wasn't going to show any pain while she was being burned, to defy their whatever, because that's what they wanted. And she said she saw herself out of her body, looking at her body, and her body was screaming and writhing in pain, even though she was out of it. And
right,
so she's like, well, scratch that idea because the body just reacted on its own without her
right.
even being in it. So
Yeah, the soul leaves before intense things like that.
so the animal nature is still going to react sometimes.
Yeah,
And
that's what a lot of people don't, especially when you're crossing, you're
and
you're separating yourself from your ego.
yeah. And so yeah, I don't know. I, that's the other thing too. I was thinking about getting some of those mushrooms also.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily want to microdose. I want to do something where I'll get somewhat of the more spiritual experience, but
yeah, yeah.
maybe I should microdose first and then try to do the spiritual experience one or something. I don't know. We'll see.
What I do is, with the capsules, I just break them down and I juice fresh lemon juice, and then I'll dump the capsules into lemon juice and let it sit for like 20 minutes. And then you can strain out the mushroom material, and just
Oh,
drink
okay.
the mixture, or you can drink it all the same. Some say that when you strain out the mushroom material, it helps with not having the stomach issues. But
Right, right, right. I was just, basically you're making kind of like a tincture,
yeah,
and
the
so
lemon juice pulls the medicine out and makes it more bioavailable. And then
huh, I wonder what would happen if you let it sit for about 5 to 7 days, because that's usually what it takes to make a tincture out of anything else, where you're getting the full benefit of
yeah, I've never done it that long. Um,
because acting like a solvent, drawing all of the active properties out.
right.
So
Yeah.
interesting, huh? So you don't just take? Do some people just take the capsules
Yeah, you can
themselves?
do that too. I just like, so for me,
But then
like
they break open in your stomach, and you're like, oh boy. Especially if you
yeah,
take
so that,
a large dose of them.
if you have all that, it typically like it'll take time, and you'll start climbing up before you peak.
Yeah,
When you do it with a lemon juice, I feel like it's
quicker.
15 to 25 minutes and you're at your peak, and then it only is like 3 to 4 hours, and then you're done. When
Okay.
you take it like normal, it takes longer to break down, so it's a slower build up, and then it lasts longer, like 4 to 6 hours, and then you're done. So I'd rather it hit me quick. I get what I need and I come back out than
Yeah.
take 6 to 8 hours. I'd rather it be 4 to 6.
When I was young, we just ate the raw mushrooms, that dried out raw mushrooms, and that wasn't always fun on the stomach either. So, although
Yeah,
I never puked or anything from it, but it didn't last too, the stomach part didn't last too long for me anyways, and then it was into the trip, so to speak.
all right. So that's that. And let me know how you feel over the next few days. And definitely drink some water and electrolytes. And yeah, let me know what you think. There you go.
I have the electrolytes in this one. I drink a quart with all the electrolytes in a day, and then I drink some with a little bit of salt water in it throughout the day. I'd probably drink three at least 3 of them a day, sometimes more
Nice. Yeah.
if I'm working. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Sure.
And I'm feeling pretty calm now. I still feel
Yeah.
a slight tinge of that hyper awareness. I'm feeling pretty calm so far.
I think that the energies hitting the earth right now are causing this almost slight anxiety feeling because I've felt it for the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And no matter what I do, I can't clear it completely. And I'm even doing breath work and qigong and stuff. So I don't know if
This
everyone's
doesn't,
feeling it.
this is not an anxiety for me.
Okay.
I recognize this feeling. It's like when you do, I don't know if you've ever done a QHHT session or watched them on the videos, but you
Yeah.
get this when you're connected with your higher self. It's like, I don't know, it's like an animated. Anxiety is the closest thing I can think to it, but it's not that anxiety
Right.
that you don't like. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I know what this is.
Right.
It's a good thing actually. So that's the best I can describe it.
Yeah, it's a feeling that you recognize or
Yeah.
remember.
And that's a good sign that these frequencies are, doing their thing and connecting with me. So,
Yeah.
because you always
Awesome.
wonder how are you doing this remotely, but it's the quantum entanglement or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And I think like even with your belief in knowing that this is possible, that opens it up for you because humans are very good at blocking their own healing as well, whether it's subconscious blockages or um, certain belief systems. Like when I run frequencies on animals, I see the effects like really quickly
Almost
because they
immediately,
don't
yeah.
have yeah, they're just open. Humans will have all this doubt and judgments and they block their own healing and then they complain that nothing happened. So it's just
Yep, we're experts at that, definitely.
yeah.
All right, well, thank you, my friend. I'll let you go if you need to go, unless you want to talk a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything going on. I just have to run to
Oh,
the
okay,
post office.
awesome, awesome. So yeah, that's great. So yeah, I can't afford to do an Ibogaine one for a while. I don't know how, so hopefully this some of these frequencies will help me with the money thing. And
Oh yeah,
I've been trying to just kind of let it go and leave it up to the universe, that it'll happen when it's supposed to happen and so on. But I'm not getting any younger too. I'd like to do it. And plus I'll have to go to the doctor and get a heart test and all that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure my heart's okay, but it's always good to get the data on it and make sure.
yeah, like a
So
liver panel, enzyme panel, and then an EKG, and then you're already taking magnesium. So there's some supplements we recommend to take before and after. And yeah, I think
do you do like a heart monitor or anything when you're doing
yeah,
your
we hook you
retreats?
up to a thing to check your vitals
Okay. That's always good, yeah.
and check on you and sit with you and make sure you're good. And um,
Have you listened
yeah,
to Brian Hubbard's latest interview with Jillian? I can't think of her last name. She's the exercise girl.
I don't think so.
It's actually really good. He did a really good one. And he's so in the first one that he did with Joe Rogan, he talked about you should go to one of these retreats or one of these centers in Mexico or whatever, where they have all the equipment and hook you up, and that's expensive. It's like $5,000 to $6,000 or more, I think. I don't
I think
remember,
it's like yeah, up to 10.
or maybe it's 10, yeah. And so, anyways, but he also said, or with a person who he didn't say shaman, but he implied,
Facilitator.
yeah, somebody who's familiar and knows how
Oh
to do
my.
this, and so I would feel comfortable doing one with you at some point, maybe. And so
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like for me, the clinical thing, like my girlfriend was working for the doctor helping like Navy SEALs with uh,
right, right,
Ibogaine, and it's clinical, and they have you hooked up to heart monitors and this and that, and then nurses are in there and they're just observing you and making sure you're okay, and then, but essentially the medicine does all the work, and I was already healthy, and I feel like spiritually, like shamanic work, when people sit in medicine with me, I always get complimented on how in tune I am. And like when I'm placing my hands on people, how do you know when to do this and that and the perfect timing and this and that? And it's because I'm tuned in, spirit's working through me. It's not like a clinical setting where I know all the medical stuff and
right,
then that's it. I'm like, I've been initiated into the process of like the shamanic side of things. So I think
yeah,
like it's a whole different experience and care versus medical staleness, I guess I would call it. I don't know how to say it, but it just everyone will wants different things, right? Some people want that feeling of protection with the medical environment, and others go lean more for the shamanic side of things. So everyone has their own path, but that's why we have to do our due diligence, make sure you're not on any medications, and look up your like any contraindications and test everything, and go based on intuition and inner guidance and muscle testing, and make sure that we're not serving from the ego, but helping someone where they're at.
Yeah, and I definitely lean in that direction. I'm not, the medical side of things has its place in things, but I definitely think that it's more thorough when you're going the intuition shamanic route. I think actually the two should work together, but we're not
Right.
quite there as a society yet, and eventually we may be. And because the medical side's not open to that very much, but it's starting to open up in some areas. But I have no fear of dying. I figure if I die, it's my time to go, it's my turn to
Yeah,
go. And
that's how I
so,
am too.
and so,
But then you have like people dying at different retreats, and
yeah, and that's an excuse for them to try and crack down on it, and
yeah.
try to ban it or limit it or whatever, so.
And the thing is, like, some of these people are on drugs, they're lying about it, or sometimes spirit does this to take down certain groups or individuals because they're not operating from integrity.
Yeah,
And so you'll see a lot of these people or places that are doing this, and they're like doing it for money versus
yeah.
service, or greed, and self-importance, and different distortions. And so I think as we evolve and elevate frequency wise, a lot of those masks are going to be exposed, and the genuine, authentic, humble, heart-centered people are going to step into leadership roles where it's not about getting rich off these things, but genuine, authentic service, and everything taken care of that way, like genuinely guided by spirit. Because some of these places are like serving 90 plus people in an ayahuasca ceremony. The shaman can't even get around to everybody, and they're not
Yeah.
being taken care of. And that's just ridiculous.
I picked up something from Brian's latest interview where he said that didn't I don't know if he said it before in the other one or not, but he said got to talking about the difference between ayahuasca and psilocybin and ibogaine and I don't know and mescaline and other psychedelics, and he seemed to think, and I think he said I don't know if he tried ayahuasca or something. He tried one or a couple of the other ones or something at one point. He said the difference to him is that like with ayahuasca, you're not in charge. It's where the plant takes you where it takes you. He said with ibogaine, it's more of a balance where you get to decide where you want to go, kind of thing. Is that how you see it, or just curious?
Yeah, so ayahuasca is it's like a grandmother spirit, like a stern loving grandmother that makes you face yourself and your blind spots, and then also shows you like creation and the cosmos and whatever.
So
Um,
so ayahuasca is the suck it up buttercup one
well,
sometimes.
it's more feminine energy, very like
Okay.
stern but loving.
Okay, that's good.
Um, and then I feel like a boga is more masculine, direct. So like with ayahuasca, you'll have visions that are more symbolic and mystical, and some are clear, but it's kind of like you have to figure it out. Not all of it makes sense. Kind of dealing like with a woman, right? She's not going to tell you. She wants you to figure it out yourself, and then, and then
She wants you to read her mind.
yeah, with a boga, it's like you're operating in a masculine energy. So it'll be like, here's where you fucked up, like very clear, crystal clear visions, direct, remote viewing. Dun dun dun. You see what happened. Here's the result. This is why. Fix it.
Okay.
Or they'll be guiding you through like your life review, and you seeing everything for what it was, and then help you clear and resolve these issues and face your fears, and like very direct and clear, and you know what's going on. Um, and then you can ask questions of the cosmos, and it'll show you directly,
Okay.
um, you can ask questions to Aya. But more so it's her directing you and what you need, and the plant kind of doing its thing. and you're kind of a passenger more so than a co-director. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, yeah. That
But
that definitely resonates with me. I am definitely drawn to Iboga. Um, what about your medicine that you developed? What do you?
mine is kind of a combination. It's inhaled and it lasts for 45 minutes to 2 hours, and you cross over. It's very, you'll like typically on entry, you're seeing all kinds of fractals and colors, and then it's kind of distracting your ego mind for you to surrender into connecting with your guides or higher self or galactic family or whoever it is that you need to connect with. And it's very visual, very profound. I would say it's more so like Aya than it is Iboga,
Okay.
but it's also like there's no purging typically. And you're right back to normal when you come out of it. So it's kind of like businessman's ayahuasca. You can go right back to work kind of thing, but you get a lot
Yeah.
out of it and you can go in several times depending. Some people like the first entry, they're a little resistant during the process. So then we go
Yeah.
back in again because they basically understand what it feels like because it's pretty intense in the entry. And then it kind of opens up where you can communicate and navigate. Um, but there's layers of programming and resistance that has to be dissolved. So it depends on the person. Some people surrender right into it and have amazing experiences and are taken on ships and worked on by the galactic family and have visions of other
Uh-huh.
lifetimes and come back with amazing stories. And then others, it's like they can feel me working on them and I'm removing things and clearing their energy systems and grounding them and but not a lot of visions or anything like that because sometimes people the first ceremonies you go through are more of a purification and realignment before
Yeah.
you get to see the other stuff. They're
Okay.
like, first we need to handle this and then you can get to that, you know,
Yeah.
so it just depends on the person.
Do you recommend like people doing it on their own, say maybe after they've had a ceremony of yours or two where they've surrendered to it and everything, and then maybe they can do it on their own
Some of
once in a
them I
while?
wouldn't say no to ayahuasca on your own. I mean, some
Yeah,
people have
not
done it.
I'm talking about your medicine, yeah.
My
That's
medicine, I
since it's a in and out type of thing.
yeah, I think it depends. I'd have to gauge it and work with you and see where you're at.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that makes sense.
a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe after a couple of ceremonies, and if you feel like someone's able to handle it on their own,
Yeah, it depends.
possibly.
Yeah, exactly. It's on a case by case basis. I don't openly sell my medicine to people because it's my creation and what I was guided to make, and I have
Oh,
a
okay.
really like divine connection, and I don't want it to be misused
Right.
or disrespected because then it ties back to me, and then I get my ass kicked by spirit. Like, what are you doing? Giving it to this person that's not ready or whatever. So I go based on intuition and guidance. Like I'm not in it for money. I want it to be used with reverence and respect and in a proper fashion where it's not causing more harm than it's helping and stuff like that. But yeah, there's different medicines that people can use on their own. And eventually, like I want to have land and have start a community and have all of these different modalities and ceremonies going on where everyone can kind of work together and hold space for each other and things like that. So that's what I'm hoping for coming in the next couple of years. But
That's awesome. That's been my dream for a long time. That was one of the reasons we bought this farm here, but it hasn't panned out, so it wasn't meant to be yet. And so maybe at some point I can help you, or
yeah,
I envisioned this retreat where everybody would come and have all these different modalities of healing, and people could try what resonates with them and so on. Everything from plant medicines to all the different modalities, the energy healing, the QHHT sessions, whatever, and people could come and spend time, like a weekend or a week or even, maybe a couple weeks on a different thing or, that type of thing. And then, of course, there would need to be people here probably year round or full time, at least when that, eventually. But I don't feel like that's what this farm is going to end up being, but, you know, it's still in there.
we'll see. Yeah,
So when
I
you
think we're
say
gonna.
that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me know if you make progress on that or whatever, and maybe you ought to come to Idaho sometime and check it out. Idaho would be a good area. They call this area the banana belt of Idaho because the winters aren't as harsh as the rest of the state, and
Oh,
and
cool.
Even like Utah, you said you were coming, you think you might be doing a retreat up this way. Whereabouts were you thinking approximately, or
My friend has connections in Utah. I have some in Idaho.
okay.
I know a lot of people in Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, where I grew up. So I haven't set down and like set a schedule, but I need to. And I don't know if you like how many people would you be able to host if we did it on yours?
I honestly don't know that many people really that are
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have a like a circle of people that are into what I'm into that I know around
Yeah,
here.
it's harder out there in
I
those
know a couple
states.
of people. Well, and I haven't really put myself out there out locally. I'm doing this all online mostly. I was just the reason I was saying that is because Utah is colder than Idaho, where I'm at. Even
Really? Okay.
yeah. So I
Maybe
mean,
when I cruise up there, I'll stop by and we can do a one-on-one and then figure
yeah,
out.
if you're going to come up this way, definitely come. Got a place you can stay overnight if you need to or whatever,
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out
and you can
because
see.
that's what I want. I don't want harsh weather.
There's probably enough people in Boise to do one, but I just don't know them. You know, because there's a
Yeah,
crowd.
we could put our feelers out and see what happens. I'm having my website created where people can sign up to get updates on my retreat schedules. And then if we get enough people to fill them up, then we can start planning those. But if I'm going
Yeah.
to be up in the area anyways, I'm driving, so I would just stop by on the way through, even if it's just for like a one-on-one with you or something until we get something figured out. I feel like I was put on this kind of back burner for me to go internal and heal myself and reset and really prepare for what's next. And so that's coming probably this in the next few months. I'm going to start really planning some things. And I know that, like in my visions, I saw a lot of what's going on right now 5 years ago, and then again last year, where this mass wealth is going to be redistributed back to humanity. So I think that'll open a lot of opportunities and doors for us to come together and start like really creating from that place without being stuck in the slave system so much. But
Yeah, and we're approaching something big. I don't know how soon, but there's things happening in the markets and all, and you know, and with the monetary system and stuff. I used to teach seminars on the monetary system, and I used to really be into. I used to be a legal researcher. You know, one of these people who used to call us sovereign citizens and that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I used to teach seminars, so I haven't been into that stuff in a long time as I moved more into the spiritual side of things, but I know a lot about it and I see what's going on. And I've actually been talking about some of it on X where I haven't for a long time, and I kind of don't like it because it's gotten me more into a negative energy at times, and I've fallen back into my animal nature and jumped on some people a few times. I'm like, I got to stop doing this, you know. And so, but something's
Yeah.
coming. I'm not sure exactly how soon, but something is coming in with financial stuff.
Well, I think it's going to be this year, if not next. But I feel like I was showing it 5 years ago and I thought it was happening then.
Yeah,
So, like, for
that's the problem with
everything,
seeing stuff on like that. The time isn't the same on the other side.
yeah, spirit's like, it's happening soon. And you're like, okay, what is soon? And it's like 10 years later.
Yeah, yeah. With spirit, that could be anywhere from 5 to 100 years in some cases.
Right. Yeah.
So
Like, am I going to be alive for this? Or, but I think, like, all the corruption's being exposed. We got
yeah,
so many different things playing out. And I think that what I was shown is the collapse of Wall Street that kind of shocks the world, and then a brief reset period, and then a new currency and system. Um, and
yeah, and that's going to be a tough one for a lot of people because most people who do not understand how the monetary system works, they have no clue.
Right. Yes, we have to be grounded and understand that everything's happening for the highest good, at least on the timeline I'm on. But
Basically, our monetary system is an illusion that has been perpetrated on us for generations that has stolen the wealth of most Americans.
yeah.
But they think that's how it's supposed to be. It's really difficult sometimes to explain it to people, but more people are open to it now, but still. Anyways, I will let you go, brother, and thank you. Appreciate it. Keep in touch with me.
Mhm.
Let me know when you're going to be up this way. Definitely come by if you're going to be up this way and stop
Yeah, yeah.
by.
I'll drive
And
through
like I
there.
said, got a place for you to stay if you want to spend the night, or if you're going to pass through
Okay.
or whatever. You know, at least stop by and say hello, or I'll meet you somewhere or whatever.
Yeah, I'd love that. Sounds good.
All right,
All right, man. Have a
all
blessed
right.
day. We'll
You
talk
too.
soon. All
All
right,
right.
see you.
Take care, my friend.